Challengers is out, it's hot, it's steamy, and it left me pretty confused.
Wait. Hi.
Hey,
Challengers is the latest film from Italian filmmaker Luca Guadagnino, who is best known for projects like Call Me By Your Name in 2017, or more recently Bones and All in 2022, which I actually haven't gotten around to yet. It's been on my watch list since it came out, but it's just one of those things. Before I dive into why this film confused me, let me just give some more context. It's been in the news quite a bit. It's a fairly popular project, kind of bridging the gaps between some cinephiles, some kind of indie film enjoyers, and the mainstream, in large part, of course, due to Zendaya, who is one of the hottest stars in the world at the moment. So the film does follow Zendaya, who was a rising junior tennis star in Challengers, who unfortunately fell to injury, had to shift tracks in her career, and ended up becoming a tennis coach. Challengers, though, is not about her journey exactly. It's about this crazy love triangle between Zendaya's character and Mike Faist and Josh O'Connor. Mike Faist is known more for his work in theater, most notably receiving Tony nominations for his performances in Dear Evan Hansen. Josh O'Connor also comes from a theater background, but he is more well known for his role on some television shows, mostly British television shows, Peaky Blinders, for example, Doctor Who, and also The Crown. What I'm more interested in when it comes to O'Connor's work, though, is La Chimera, a film that came out, technically in 2023, but to an actual release outside of a festival in 2024. I've been trying to watch it. It did not come to my city, but I only now realize that it is available to stream on Amazon Prime Video, which means that I'll probably be watching it this evening. I'm really excited to see his work there. I promise I'm going to get to my personal thoughts in a second here, but it's important to note that this film was not written by Guadagnino. It was actually written by Justin Kuritzkis, who some of you may recall from the viral early YouTube hit of Potion Seller.
hello, potion seller. I am going into battle, and I want your strongest potions.
Yes, the guy who created Potion Seller wrote this film. He's actually done some great work on stage as a playwright, believe it or not. And this is where things get even more interested. He's married to Celine Song, who broke out last year with the wonderful, slow but thoughtful film Past Lives, which also concerned a love triangle. I know that I'm a little bit curious to see if there were any deleted churros scenes or three-way makeouts that appeared in Challengers that didn't quite make its way into Past Lives, but it definitely is interesting that both of these writers, filmmakers, crafted stories that involved these love triangles. Okay, time to get to my thoughts. Challengers has received almost universal praise, and quite frankly, I don't get it. I don't read reviews before I make my own because I don't want to be too influenced by critics out there. But of course, I am aware that folks I respect, folks whose work I do read when I'm not making a review myself, have been quite strong on this project. Some have kind of put it early at the top of the year list. And so I had this understanding going into the film, and I left a bit dumbfounded. I mean, I tend to consider myself in a slightly pretentious way a keen observer of cinema, and oftentimes, if there is a strong critical response and I don't like the project, I at least understand where these critics are coming from, what it is that potentially drew them to this film, and I just feel like I'm missing something here. Challengers, while well made from like a production standpoint, just didn't quite hit the mark. Now, before you angrily come at me, I'll talk you through a little bit more of why I think this. First off, I'm not here to say that this was a terrible film. As I mentioned, the production was strong from a technical perspective. The performances were also strong. I don't honestly have anything negative to say about the performances themselves. They fit within the direction. They accomplished what I believe they were meant to accomplish. And so I honestly think that the performances were really solid from all three of our kind of central characters here. Of course, being a Guadagnino film, he's not one to shy away from the erotic, from the sexual or sensual. And the strongest scenes here were probably those more intimate scenes. He is extremely adept at crafting moments that feel real, that feel grounded in human passion and tension. And we certainly got that here, be it in our kind of steamy, not quite three-way, or be it in the kind of two-person, slower, more intimate scenes. They all felt real and they felt human. Unfortunately, the rest of the film didn't quite do it for me. The metaphors were so on the nose at times that it really took me out of the film. Yes, I understand we are using tennis to explore both interpersonal relationships, but also the relationship with oneself. That's clear and that's fine, but parts of the script, the dialogue, even the basic beats really hit us over the head with this at times. There was one scene in particular where our three central characters are sitting on a beach together. There is this kind of very melodramatic piano in the background. I'll get to Atticus and Resner's score in a minute, and Zendaya's character literally says, tennis, it's a relationship. Essentially just repeating the central metaphor for us directly. And this was never really explored on a deep or meaningful level, to me, at least, of course. It got to the point, in fact, that I was starting to think, oh, okay, I missed this. This is satire. This isn't meant to be taken seriously, but then I couldn't quite figure out what we were satirizing, and I don't think ultimately it was meant to be satirical. There was also a tremendous amount of product placement here. Like, I'm talking almost every single scene, we are being bombarded with brand names, with products. And again, I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is some tongue-in-cheek statement, anti-capitalist messaging, somehow subversive, but I don't think so again. This is a film with a $55 million budget with constant ads essentially for products like Coca-Cola, for Taco Bell. We even had a brief appearance from Athletic Greens. So Athletic Greens has now transcended every single YouTuber on the planet and is now making its way into mainstream Hollywood cinema. As mentioned previously, yes, there was some pretty great sexual tension here, not just between Zendaya and the love interests, but between the two men themselves, even between the men and trainer, for example, right from the second scene of the film, but again, a bit on the nose at times. We can only have so many phallic objects that are not so subtly used to represent something else. Although the use of churro was something new, so I have to give Guadagnino credit there. Then, when it comes to the actual shot list here, the use of the camera, and the editing style, it felt almost like it was just an attempt to show off. Again, of course, some of the camera movement and some of the choices being made were to fit within this metaphor of tennis and relationship. There was quite frequent use of these extremely fast pans from character to character to represent or symbolize a rally that you would see in tennis. This back and forth to see who will ultimately win the point, which was cool the first time, but it came up multiple times throughout the film. Similarly, things like the tennis balls themselves whizzing almost through the camera. Oh, that's a cool shot, but by the 10th time, it feels a little bit overdone. Beyond that, we have these switches to POV cams at times. I understand we're getting into the head of these characters, but then we switch to the POV of the tennis ball itself, and then all of a sudden we're getting a shot from beneath the tennis court, almost as if the surface is transparent, quickly cutting to slow motion after slow motion after slow motion. We have sweat dropping in 480 frames per second onto the camera. All cool tricks, but again, I just don't know what I'm missing. I wish so deeply that Challengers allowed itself to be still. There were some moments, again, some of the stronger moments of the film, in my opinion, when we didn't have these wild cuts. We didn't have these tremendous camera movements. We didn't have these extreme close-ups. Props to whoever was pulling focus on this, though. Very difficult job on Challengers. But we, or at least I, just wanted to be still in these moments with these characters. There's a couple scenes in particular that stand out to me after Zendaya's character's injury. We have a very intimate moment expressing, it's okay, and the camera holds for a while, although it could have held for even longer. We have some more passionate kisses in front of a Jeep, product placement, but in front of this Jeep is a scene that stands out to me again, where the camera was allowed to remain stationary, and we weren't forced to go through these kind of wild, quick cuts. But that was not the bulk of the picture. And, maybe this is just my personal style, my personal taste, or maybe I'm just missing something enormous here. Maybe there is a clear reason, a clear need for all of these cuts, for all of these movements that I'm just not seeing. Earlier, I mentioned on this beach scene that we had this melodramatic piano as part of the score. The score itself has received a ton of praise, some saying that it's their favorite score they've ever heard. And it does come from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who are two brilliant musicians, composers, teammates in this endeavor, scoring some amazing films like Gone Girl. The score in Waves, for example, were both tremendous. This one relies so heavily on techno beats, at least that is my kind of genre attribution. Quite repetitive, usually paired with slow motion scenes that go on for just a bit too long, and it left me confounded. It felt kind of like a dance video and less like a film that is meant to be taken seriously. And look, I understand that it's easy to just sit in a chair and talk about a film. This is clearly a filmmaker who has talent, who has vision, and the script was interesting for sure. There's not meant to be a super serious dig at the screenwriting either. I just, quite frankly, don't get it, and I seem to be in the minority. Um, of course, if you enjoy a film, then I would love you to enjoy it. This is just one that didn't work for me. If you feel like I'm just missing something so obvious, so significant, feel free to let me know. I have no problem kind of being steered in a different direction if there's a reason to be steered that way. This is, after all, just one person's opinion. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you did watch everything, that is amazing. Feel free to toss a like. A subscribe is even better. A comment works as well. Just feed this beast of an algorithm that seems to change every day. Cheers.